Hello everyone. Hi. Greetings from Total Down Under and Tourism Australia. We are presenting an exclusive webinar, Love Down Under. It is a travel diary, which is giving you romance and honeymoon luxury packages, good scenic escapes, and everything. Next slide. We'll go with the introduction. We have our presenter Ushma Patel. Everyone knows her. She is from Tourism Australia. She's an Aussie Specialist Program Coordinator, and today she will be presenting the whole webinar. Next slide. Ushma, you can just take it from here.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Mayur, for this opportunity, and good afternoon to everyone, and welcome all. So, as Mayur mentioned, today we are going to go through some experiences which kind of appeal to honeymooners, and I would also add in for people who are traveling for any milestone celebrations. So, these will be top-notch experiences which can be offered or woven into the itinerary when you're planning for Australia. So, yeah, next slide, please. So, why Australia? Because we have experiences which are very, very exclusive. Also, I think some of the wow experiences which you can experience in Australia are like second to none. So, highly recommend. And Australia has always been one of the aspirational destinations for people who are on honeymoon or people who are celebrating, like how, at least for the India market, we have people celebrating milestone birthdays. It could be a 30th, it could be a 50th birthday, it could be a 25th wedding anniversary. So I think that's what's picking up the market right now. And I think nothing better than having experiences like, just to give an example, the one that you see in the picture where you're literally in the middle of nowhere on a cliff having like nice private dinner, or or a sundowner experience whilst you're there literally in between kangaroos hopping around. So I think this kind of adds a very, very wow experience to this entire trip that people take to Australia. Next. So we'll go state-wise today, and every state I have just kind of listed down experiences which we feel that could be a part of the itinerary. And I think TDU, as always, does a fab job, and they can help you with weaving these experiences into the itinerary as well. Next one. So the first one at Queensland that I'm going to talk about is a helicopter ride over the Heart Reef. So as you see in the picture here, there's literally a reef that's shaped in form of a heart. So this gives the best view is through a helicopter or having a panoramic view of it. So we've had, uh, experiences from couple who've done like a proposal or who've celebrated an anniversary, doing this helicopter ride and flying over the Heart Reef at the same time. So this is one of the experiences that we highly recommend. Next. Second is, just this picture speaks for itself. To be on a sandbank, on a beach, on any of the private islands at the Great Barrier Reef. This is a picnic basket lunch experience that happens. What you do here is a helicopter kind of takes you to any of the secluded islands or like a sandbank, and you land over there. You have a nice picnic basket, laid out for you. It's just the couple who's celebrating any of the occasion that they're there for, and then the helicopter gets you back. So it's a very, very private and an experience which I think speaks for itself, because just to be here and to be alone with your partner, I think this is also one of the experiences that works very, very well for honeymooners, and also again for people who are celebrating special occasions. Next. Another one is if you can go to Lesov K. Now, this again is an experience similar to the one in the previous slide, but this is more like a helicopter experience. It doesn't have a meal or a lunch. It's more like a ride. You land on one of the beaches over there, and you have time for yourself. You can just be around, click photos. You can have somebody, a professional photographer, also clicking your photographs as well. The image you see here is of a very popular Bollywood actor actress called Pariniti Chopra. This is when she had visited the Great Barrier Reef with us. So as you can see, it's also a place which is very, very secluded and isolated. So I think makes a very perfect backdrop for a couple again. Next, please. Now, this again is a very unique experience. All of us visit the Great Barrier Reef as a day trip or a full day trip, but I think it's a different experience when you get to, spend a night on the Great Barrier Reef. So, reef sleep is an experience wherein they have rooms which are on top of the reef. So, as you see here in the picture, it's like a pontoon. You have a reef here, or you have rooms here, and you also have roofs under the water. So you have rooms which can give you like a view of the reef from underwater, and of course you can stay on the top as well. So Lady Musgrave is the experience, or this entire pontoon is called Lady Musgrave. So what can be done is, if you're staying at the Great Barrier Reef, you can probably spend a night here and then come back. Like you do the day trip of the Great Barrier Reef, or you're done with your tour, you're done with your snorkeling or your diving or scuba diving experience, you can stay here for a night, and then next day morning you can come back again to the shore. So again, this is slightly different because all of us do the Great Barrier Reef only as a day trip, but this is slightly out of the box when you actually stay on the reef. And honestly, to stay on the reef overnight is a completely different experience from what you see, in the day. So during daytime, the water and everything is completely different. So what you will see at night. So this is a very different kind of an experience. But yeah, if the couple is open to experimenting on something like this and staying at a very out of the box place, I think Lady Musgrave is a very good product to be given. Next, please. So this is one of the luxury lodges of Australia. It's called Qualia. As you can see here, all their rooms literally open up to the Great Barrier Reef. So this is on Hamilton Island. It's one of the luxury lodges. The room you see here is the one which has a private plunge pool as well. Now, keeping in mind, these luxury lodges are very smaller properties, so rooms kind of get sold out very quickly. I think you really need to plan in advance if you want to kind of plan a stay on at any of the luxury lodges. But Qualia definitely works very, very well for the India market. And if you have like a nice big itinerary that a honeymoon couple is spending in Australia, I would recommend to give them luxury lodges during their stay, because it just kind of elevates the entire experience of being on a honeymoon or celebrating any of the occasion. So I think during the entire itinerary, probably a couple of luxury lodges just gives an edge to the entire trip that they have. So the rooms are fabulous, the views are amazing, and I think this is I would say an Aussie style of luxury that we call. It's laid back, it's slow, it's more with nature. So yeah, I think Qualia is one accommodation that I highly, highly recommend when they are at Hamilton Island. Next. Now, this is the great beach drive that happens at Noosa on the Sunshine Coast. This is about 2 hours away from Brisbane. So, either you can stay on the Sunshine Coast for 2 or 3 nights, or definitely not a night, but more than 2 to 3 nights. And you can do the Great Beach Drive. Now, what happens here is you're literally driving on the beach. It's a stretch of about 60 to 70 kilometers. Now, you not self-drive this vehicle because it needs certified drivers who are, kind of eligible to, drive this vehicle on the beach. So this is a nice tour that happens. You're literally, have the sea next to you and you have the mountains next to you, and you're just on a white sand beach going on the road. So this experience to do it on a private basis is also, you can't stop by, but you can have a nice drive on the beach. Can you go on the next slide? Yeah, so it's something like this. So you have the ocean on the one side, you have mountains on the other. It's a long stretch of beach, and you just are like driving. It's just the two of y'all, like the couple or anybody who's, like a honeymoon couple or somebody who's celebrating something. You're just the two of y'all with the driver who's on the beach. So I think this is a slightly different experience because it's kind of adrenaline rush, but not a very high octane thing. But it's a different experience because you're driving at a speed, but you're on the beach. So I think this kind of works well for those couples who are seeking thrill, but not also getting into like a very high octane activity, but still, experiencing something very different whilst you're there. Next slide, please. Now, river drafting at Port Douglas. Now, what you see in the picture is what exactly happens. You are laid flat on an inflatable, and you just go through the Mosman Gorge, and above you, you have the rainforest. So this is literally 1-2 hours of river drafting that happens. The current is absolutely slow. It's not that you're going to fall off or something. It's a slow water body just moving. You're drifting to the entire river. At times you just kind of come across some stones or natural rock formations that come into the picture, but otherwise it's a very nice and slow activity. This usually happens in the first half of the day, so it starts at about 11 and goes out about till the afternoon. But just keeping in mind, for river drafting, what happens is the person who's doing the experience needs to carry the inflatable. So only if a couple is ready to kind of walk with the inflatable, assemble it, get onto it, and then also do this experience. Once you're done with the experience, you also need to carry the inflatable and probably walk a little bit to where your end point is. So keeping these things in mind, it definitely recommended for adventure seeking couple. I would not say that people who don't want to get into this whole thing of, because there are different type of couples who are on a honeymoon. Some might would want to seek like a thrilling experience. Some would just not want to do anything at all when they are on their trip. So this is for somebody who's really into that high octane activity. But also, as mentioned, when you're on the river, doing it for an hour or two, that is going to be a completely slow experience. But just this little thing that you need to carry before and after is something that they should be mentally prepared for. Next, please. Yeah, and just a heads up, if you're giving this activity, please do not club it with something else because it tends to get a bit tiring after you're done. So I think post lunch, you would might as well keep that day free for them rather than giving any other activity in the evening. Next is Flames of the Forest. So this is a dinner venue, which is, sorry, could you go back? Yeah, so this is a dinner venue which is inside the Daintree, which is world's oldest rainforest. This is exactly how it looks. And the flames of the forest, the names come from, if you see, it gives like, like a flame sort of a effect when the lights are on in the evening. And because it's in the middle of a rainforest, it just kind of gives as if, like a fire or flames are coming up. So definitely recommend this as a dinner venue for one of the days. Think they should definitely go for dinner over here. So I think a nice private dinner experience over here is recommended for couples who are traveling. Next, please. So the Glowworm tour happens at Mount Tambourine. Again, this is not very hectic. It's quite relaxing if you just want to spend a nice evening in a glowworm cave. This happens from Mount Tambourine. So if you're there at Gold Coast, you can probably have one of the evenings set up for this. It takes some time to reach Mount Tambourine. So keeping that in mind, it could be a second half of the day kind of an activity. And then you come back into Gold Coast again. So you could plan this if there is a couple who wants to kind of get into this kind of an experience where they want to see a glowworm cave. Next, please. Moving on from Queensland into New South Wales. So as we can see, I think most of us know she is Sara Tendulkar. She is in Sydney on the harbor. So what you can do here is you can actually have a nice private yacht to yourself. Highly recommend during a sundowner, which is your evening time. So you can have a nice wine and a cheese kind of an experience, not a full dinner, but maybe just nibbles here and there along with some wine. You have yachts that can be chartered, so only a private yacht can be chartered for a couple and they can spend a nice evening here. They can also see all the icons while they are there on the yacht. So you see the Opera House, you'll go through the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and you'll get to visit all the other iconic places as well. Again, a dinner sort of a thing can be planned as well on the yacht, but recommended, since since we're talking a lot on couples and people on special occasions and romance, to have a private yacht rather than be with other people around. Next, please. And of course, the very iconic Sydney Bridge climb. I think this is again for our all adrenaline seekers, but I feel even for people who are not on an high octane or seeking that thrill, bridge climb should definitely be on the list for any honeymooner who's traveling. Because come on, you can't go to Australia and not do the Sydney Bridge climb. So I think this needs no explanation. Just put it in the itinerary. They really just adds on to that whole experience of being with your loved one at such a height, and seeing the whole of the Sydney skyline whilst you're doing the bridge climb together. I think again here, highly recommend if you do it at twilight, and of course if you do it early in the morning. Twilight, and if it is, I think the next slide, please. I think it's about Vivid Sydney. No, okay. So please, could you, sorry, Amelia, could you go to the previous one? Yeah. So if you're doing the bridge climb, especially during a Vivid Sydney, or during your winters, it's just a very different experience altogether. So yeah, please definitely put the bridge climb when you're planning the itinerary. Next, please. Now, prancing horse is basically you get this opportunity to, be in a Ferrari. Again, this is something which is slightly on a luxury side, because here you have your really fancy, swanky supercars in which you are moving around in the city of Sydney. So again, an experience which is slightly elevated. But if you have somebody who's like a car freak, or who would want to sit in a Ferrari and move around, definitely give them this prancing horse experience on a supercar like a Ferrari for sure. Next, please. Next. Yeah, so this is Vivid Sydney. It's currently on from the 22nd of May to the 13th of June. The reason for connecting the slide of bridge climb to this is, imagine doing the bridge climb when these lights are on. So we really recommend, at least for people or a couple who are going during this period. Usually it's in the third week of May up till the mid of June. So it's about a three and a half week of light festival that happens. And post 7, once the lights are on, this is how all the iconic buildings look like. If you see, the Harbour Bridge is lit up. If you see, the Opera House is lit up. So imagine doing a bridge climb at this point. So during this time, if you do it, I think it's a completely different experience. For people who've experienced a bridge climb during Vivid Sydney, have always had great stories to come back and tell us. Next, please. And of course, the New Year fireworks. I think this is the time where everybody wants to be in Sydney. So you either have an option to pick up an accommodation which faces the bridge, and you can see the fireworks. As you can see in the picture, you could also be on one of these yachts or boats to see the fireworks, or you just be around at the Opera House and see it. But what adds on to this is also, during December time in India, at least, we have a lot of weddings that take place. So definitely a lot of honeymooners again traveling for their honeymoon. And if they are in Australia, during the itinerary, try and give Sydney on the 31st of December, so they get to see this experience. Also, as a side note, bridge climb does not operate on the 31st of December due to the fireworks. So if they are there on the 31st, give them the bridge climb probably a day prior or after. But on 31st, just give them this experience of seeing the fireworks. So this again, I think it's recommended to, if you're looking for a yacht or a boat, to book way in advance, because it's also the Australians locally who go and visit and see the fireworks. So it gets sold out pretty quickly. But yeah, again, seeing the fireworks in Sydney is really once in a lifetime opportunity. Moving on to Melbourne. So I think Melbourne, Victoria also has a couple of experiences which we recommend. What you see here are the Crown Tower Hotel. So every evening, when you are here near the Crown, what you see here is the gas bridges. So every evening, for a couple of seconds, you literally have this fire emitting from the gas bridges, and it happens in a gap of couple of minutes, but it's really a very good sight to see, and this happens every evening. It's not a couple specific or anything, uh, a very romance angle to it, but it's just that when you're walking around the city, along the river, you just kind of feel that it's a nice experience to be around. Also, there are a lot of cafes and restaurants over here that you see. So if you're having your nice dinner, or if you're just, grabbing a coffee, this is something that happens post 7 near the Crown Towers. Next, please. So again, the very iconic Great Ocean Road. What we've been doing at Tourism Australia is we really are kind of educating agents that it's always good to have the Great Ocean Road in the itinerary when you're doing Victoria, but not as a day trip, but actually as an experience for at least 2 to 3 nights. Another thing is if a couple, can drive, try and put this element of doing the Great Ocean Road as a self drive. So from Melbourne, they can do the Great Ocean Road as a self drive, and they can stay there for 2 nights, and then they can come back either to Melbourne, or they can continue their journey ahead. What happens is this kind of serves two purposes. One is they get this experience of driving in Australia, on the Australian roads and on the Great Ocean Road, which again is one for the bucket list. And secondly, they also get that time to be together on the road, staying on some fabulous properties on the Great Ocean Road. So they can take their own time. They don't have to rush into an itinerary. They can be on their own for those 3 days. So either you give them a self drive or they can be chauffeur driven, but since it's Great Ocean Road, I am pressing on the fact that it works well for a honeymooner, or it works well for a couple if you do like a self drive on this patch of the road or in this portion of the itinerary. But please do give them stay over there. Don't give a day trip. It gets very very hectic for them, so make them stay for about 2 to 3 nights, because there are more than enough experiences for them while they stay at the Great Ocean Road. Next, please. So Penguin Parade, again something which I'm not saying it's pertaining to any honeymooner or a couple traveling together, but what happens is there are these experiences wherein you can have a group of 10 people who get this private viewing at the Phillip Island. So it's different from where all the other platforms are made for public. It's a slightly premium product, but again, you are literally in a group of just 10 people who are experiencing this, and just to see this little penguins coming out of the water in a smaller group on the beach kind of just again adds on to the edge. And I think when you do Victoria and when you're covering Melbourne, Phillip Island definitely becomes a part of the itinerary. So why not give it as a private experience rather than doing it with a with everyone or on a common platform. So hence I think the purpose here is more on an elevated experience rather than me focusing more on a honeymoon or a couple. But yeah, this is a very beautiful one. Again, an evening experience. This slightly differs as per the seasonality, because it's post sunset. So during summers the sunset is quite late in Australia. It's about 7:30 in the evening, so this experience would be planned accordingly. During winter, of course, the sunset is quite early, about 5:30, so again it's planned accordingly. But it's an evening activity, and I would recommend, at least for a honeymooner who are more on their leisure time, they should be given a private viewing experience rather than being along with everybody else. Next, please. Now, Mount Buller is more winter specific. I think if you've been on the last webinar where we covered winter specific experiences, I spoke a lot on Mount Buller. I think if the couple is visiting during the winter months to Australia, which is right now, up till the end of August, they should definitely visit Mount Buller. It's about 3.5 hours away from Melbourne. Again, they can either be chauffeur driven or they can drive on their own. But this is exactly how it looks during the winter months because it receives snowfall. Every snowfall activity that you do in any other country or a region is possible here. So right from your cable car to your sledging to doing a snowmobile, to doing a snow biking, to with the huskies you can take a ride as well. So all of these experiences are possible here. Since it's winter, also to stay in a nice lodge or to stay in a nice luxury property while you're at Mount Buller, focus is more on the culinary part of it as well. So even the food served is like a palate cleansing experience, I would say. Also, they are quite high on the hot chocolate season with marshmallows. So I think it gives you a very, very European feel when you're here at Mount Puller and also gives you the exact experiences. Again, over here, we try and say to stick around and stay for about 2 nights because the day you arrive, half your day is gone. The next day, you can do all your experiences. The second day, you can actually get into any of the spa experiences inside the property. And the third day, you can actually check out. So I think for somebody who's not on a rushed itinerary like a honeymooner or any other couple, it's always nice to give them like a 2 to 3 nighter stay at Mount Pulla. Next, please. So Yarra Valley is your vineyard region, which is about an hour away from Melbourne. You can do it as a day trip for a honeymooner. You can even stay over here. In fact, Yarra Valley has some really amazing properties to stay. They are very nice. They are in the vineyard, so you get amazing experiences of your wine tasting, doing a vineyard tour. But what we also recommend is if you're staying at the Yarra Valley, the next day early morning you should do the hot air ballooning tour because it's over the vineyards. It's really good. It's a nice sunrise tour. You do need to get up a bit early, but you can definitely finish this experience and then have the whole day to yourself. But hot air ballooning over a vineyard is absolutely different from a hot air ballooning in the city. So hence we also try and say that if you're going to Yarra Valley, as a couple, instead of doing a day trip, you could actually stay there for a night. So I think, as you can see in the picture, it's a beautiful, beautiful experience to do it over the vineyards. Next, please. And of course, if you're married to someone who is a cricket fan, please do not miss out on this. Even if the partner does not like it, please drag them and go here. Because I think even for someone who doesn't like cricket, the moment you enter MCG, it's a different experience altogether. On a personal note, I am not that great a cricket fanatic, but when I entered the MCG, I think by default, that whole thing, that adrenaline of how it would be during matches, how it is when India would be playing here with the Australian team. I think it just kind of kicks into you. It's a very overwhelming experience. It's such a huge stadium. Please do go here, drag your spouses, partner, whoever you're going with, make them do the 2 hour immersive tour. Which they do here with their trained guides who are dressed up in really amazing attires that they have with their hat and badges and medals, and they give you so much insight into it. It's quite fun even if you are not into cricket because they give you really nice trivias. They will ask you questions, and I think when they look at us, they have so many questions. They have seen so many Indian cricketers play here. They take you to different zones, where the cricketers sit, what the dugout looks like, how behind the scenes, what the changing rooms are. Um, they really have a huge board wherein every record or every cricketer's name is put, like highest run scorer, highest wicket taker at the ground. And I think it's a sense of pride to see Indian cricket, the Indian cricketer's name on the board itself. So yeah, please do this experience. You know what, even if the partner doesn't like, just do a solo trip for both the partners on that day. Send one to MCG, send one for shopping, but definitely put MCG on the itinerary with the 2 hour immersive experience. Next, please. So moving on from Victoria, we are jumping directly into the Northern Territory, and what you see here is the Uluru. Um, Again, next slide, and I'll tell you, why Northern Territory works very well. One is Ghan train journey. So this is unlike any other train journey. It's basically a nice, luxurious train that goes from Adelaide right up till Darwin, and from Darwin to Adelaide. But what works for Northern Territory is that you can actually take the train from Adelaide into Alice Springs, or if you're in Darwin, you can take from Darwin into Alice Springs as well. So it's a short train journey that you take. Again, it's an experience altogether. Usually what you can do is you can take this train experience up till Alice Springs, then you can drive from Alice Springs up to Uluru, do your experience, and then you can take the train back. Now again, Ghan is a luxury train. Australians in within Australia also take this journey, so it gets sold out again pretty quickly. For us, we I know that we kind of plan the whole thing slightly late, but if you have an experience like Ghan in the itinerary, try and kind of just confirm it as soon as possible, because the coaches, or as we call it, every coach is like a massive room, gets sold out very very quickly. But yeah, this is again a slightly elevated experience. In fact, this experience also works very very well for senior couples who are basically traveling after like in their 40s or 50s, who are kind of out on a trip to explore, have longer itineraries of 15-20 days, are seeing the whole of Australia, or probably visiting a lot of states and territories. They can take avail of this journey. Secondly, it works very very well for again parents who are visiting their kids. So because they go to Sydney, Melbourne a number of times, any other major city, who are visiting their friends and relatives, this is an experience that can be given because they have already done cities and maybe surrounds, but a train journey would be slightly elevated experience for them. So works well for honeymooners, couples, works very well even for people who are visiting their family and friends. Next, please. So Field of Light is this massive, light installation that has been there in Uluru. Now, this is equivalent to about 11 football fields. So it's that huge. And every evening it's lit up and it looks really, really beautiful. You can walk around the walkways or the path that they have built. And after the Field of Light, a lot of people then go for dinner. And also you can club it with this experience called Vinji Viru, which is a light and drone show that happens every evening. So all these experiences can be there while you're staying at Uluru for 2 to 3 nights. Next, please. So Vinji Viru, this is a drone show that happens every evening. If you see, it's against the backdrop of the Ayers Rock. Now, this is about a half an hour show that happens, wherein you also have a person who's commentating live, because these are indigenous patterns that they make out of drones, and every pattern has a meaning or a story to it. So you can avail of this experience whilst you're there, and then you can also do the Field of Light, which can be clubbed with this experience. All of these are evening experiences that happen. Next, please. Now, Sounds of Silence is a dinner that happens. Again, it's in the backdrop of the Ayers Rock. This is a beautiful dinner experience. They have a set menu that they follow. It's a three-course meal that happens. Again, there is an option wherein you can also have a private dining only for the couple. This one is slightly with other people around, but again, it's not a massive dinner table. It's quite intimate, and just a couple of people who are there. This is a very, very different experience. It's called Sounds of Silence because during dinner time, that's absolutely no, like you're literally in the wilderness. There's absolutely no noise or anything around. And it's a amazing experience, at least for couples who are more into culinary, more who want to kind of experiment with local cuisine and the food. And also it revolves around a lot of indigenous ingredients that they use for dinner. Next, please. This is another luxury lodge, which is longitude 131. Now, as you see, the room literally opens up and you can see the Ayers Rock. Now, as we know that Ayers Rock is a limestone rock formation, which is very sacred to the indigenous people. Also, the fact that this rock kind of changes color the entire day because of the sun. So every hour or every couple of hours, you'll see this rock undergoing shades of different reds. So if you have a room that literally overlooks the Ayers Rock, this is one of the luxury lodges that's there. So again, an experience wherein you are just in the room and seeing this very sacred rock formation, which actually indigenous people worship. So if you've done the tour already, the next day can be just at the lodge, seeing this beautiful phenomena that happens. Next, please. Moving on to South Australia, what you see here again in the picture is the Kangaroo Island. Again, specific to honeymooners and couples, but also caters to your senior couples who are traveling as well. If somebody is in Adelaide, this is a short flight, or you can take a ferry ride as well from Adelaide into Kangaroo Islands. Stay here for about 2 to 3 nights and do a lot of tours which are around here. You can, visit the remarkable rocks. You can go and see the kangaroos in the wild as well. Next, please. So that's remarkable rocks. These are basically rock formations that have happened over years and decades that have come. They look really, really amazing during sunset because they have this nice orange shade to it. So you actually feel that you are somewhere in like a bay of fire in Tasmania. So it gives a very good backdrop for your photo session. And I think you can click a lot of amazing photos when you're doing the tour of the remarkable rocks. This tour again is from Kangaroo Islands, and it's mostly like an second half post afternoon sort of a tour for about 1 or 2 hours. Next, please. Again, you can have breakfast with kangaroos or lunch with koalas. So this is a setup for a very private lunch that happens, or you can do a breakfast as well while you're on Kangaroo Island. Now, this is in the middle of wilderness. So as you can see, they've built like a nice tent. You have a nice, if you're at lunch, they can also serve you wine as well. For breakfast, also there are options available. But since you see the trees around, you will actually see koalas on the trees, and you can actually also have kangaroos hopping around. So this works well for a person who's on the honeymoon because you actually have a slightly different experience from your normal hotel breakfast or your normal lunches because you are in the middle of nowhere along the Australian wildlife. Along with this, they wouldn't serve Indian food, but yeah, they will definitely cater to a request wherein you would want to have vegan or veg options. So, Indian food would be slightly difficult, but yeah, veg and vegan shouldn't be a problem if you're opting for breakfast or lunch. But if you're staying at the Kangaroo Island, one of the days definitely give a lunch or a breakfast over here because it's a very different experience. Next, please. This is again one of the luxury lodges, which is called the Southern Ocean Lodge. Now, a couple of years ago, when there were bushfires, this lodge was completely, damaged, but now it's refurbished. It's absolutely brand new post-COVID. So this is how it looks like. All of the rooms, as you can see, literally open up to the ocean. Again, definitely give this to a honeymooner because, as I mentioned earlier, to give a luxury lodge is a very, very elevated experience in the itinerary. It completely changes the way you give accommodation to a honeymooner or a couple for sure. Definitely give 2 nights if they are here at Kangaroo Island at the Southern Ocean Lodge. Next, please. Moving to Western Australia, again, Western Australia would have couple of experiences which are kind of thrilling, and again, adventure for the adventurous one. Here you can see swimming with the whale sharks. Now, these are called as gentle giants. You are actually swimming next to them, which again is a high. Next, please. So here, this happens from April to August at the Ningaloo Reef. Now, Ningaloo Reef is a flight that you have to take either from Perth or if you're flying down from Darwin. But from Perth, you need to get into Exmouth to get into Ningaloo Reef. Now, Ningaloo Reef is different from your Great Barrier Reef. Ningaloo Reef is a fringing reef. So all the corals that you see are actually near the shore. They are not in the middle of the ocean. So you're actually on the shore or near the shore and you will see the reef. But here, one activity that we speak about is what you see here, swimming with the whale sharks, which happens from April to August. Again, if a couple is going for their honeymoon during this time, this activity is definitely recommended for them at the Ningaloo Reef. Next, please. Now, this is the Quokka selfie, which is very, very famous at Rottnest Island. I think everybody recognizes the person on this picture. It's Virat Kohli. And when he was visiting Rottnest, he had clicked this picture with Quokka, which is also the happiest marsupial in the world. They have this really natural smile that they have. And from Perth, you can do Rottnest as a day trip. Rottnest now also has a lot of accommodation options available. But I think most of us do it as a day trip. Please go there and definitely click, a selfie with the quokkas. Also, it's got fabulous beaches at Rottnest. They also have a Segway tour. You can even cycle around the entire island. Basically, give the full day to the couple on the island, and they can literally do just loiter around, click photos, go on the beach, have a nice lunch, take a nice Segway tour, or just cycle around. It's about 11 kilometers that the whole island takes a loop, and there are tours that happen wherein they take you around the island on the Segway or a bicycle. Again, slightly different experiences, but I think a couple who would want to do something really different from the normal should definitely do a Rottnest on their honeymoon. Next, please. Now, this is Lake Hiller. Could you go on the next slide also so I can think it's the lagoon? Next slide. Yeah, so these are the pink lakes of Western Australia. No, the previous one. Yeah, so Hutt Lagoon is the pink lake, which is very, very famous in Western Australia. It's about, I think, quite a long drive from Perth. But again, if you're on a self drive in Western Australia, you can definitely visit the Hutt Lagoon. Over here, so the shade that you see here of pink keeps changing every day. So during the course of the entire year, there are different shades of pink that you get to see when you visit the Hutt Lagoon. But I think definitely an experience if you're on a self drive, or you can even drive from Perth up till Hutt Lagoon and then stay back and come back to Perth again because it's a long drive. On the way, you can do your pinnacles, you can do the Kalabari lookout, and then you can come back into Perth again. Next, please. Now, another accommodation option that can be given for a couple is the Jamala Wildlife Lodge, which you see here in Canberra. So, if Canberra is a part of an itinerary, I think the stay should be here for sure. If it's not, you can definitely also, drive them from Sydney into Canberra, which is a 3-hour drive, but give them accommodation at Jamala for about 1 or 2 nights. Give them a room which is either a lion or a tiger, or what you see here like a leopard cheetah enclosure. What happens is your room, there's only a glass facade between the wild animal and your room. and the animal literally is there or moving around or loitering around, not of course inside the room, outside. They are basically in enclosures. And it's really good because personally having to see this, it's amazing. Like literally you are in your room, and on the other side we had the lion who was just, casually roaming around. We had a tiger, we had meerkats, um a lot of wild animals who are just there. So Jamala is like an all inclusive lodge. So if you book, like if you're visiting there, all of your meals are taken care of. So I think that's an advantage, because you don't really have to venture out for anything, and you are also experiencing the room and the property, because the entire property is woven around this whole wildlife experience. They have their own tours. They'll take you to see the other wildlife, like your Tasmanian devil. You can see the emus over there. You can see wombats. You can see koalas. I think that's a different tour that they do. But the other experience, definitely, staying with these wild animals in the room. The rooms are very spacious. They're really good, well maintained, and uh, I think the lion, the tiger, the leopard, and the giraffe ones are the rooms that get sold out very quickly. The one where you stay with the giraffe is a completely different experience, because what happens is when you can actually get an opportunity to feed the giraffe when they come to their room. So every evening they come, at the balcony, and you get this opportunity to feed the giraffe over there. So I think again, very, very out of the box, very, very different accommodation option. Definitely should be woven into an itinerary, either as a standalone Canberra for 2 nights, because you can then explore Canberra city as well, or it can be woven with Sydney with a 2 night stay in Canberra. Next, please. And Floriade is the tulip festival that happens every year. So it's from the 14th of September to 13th of October, about a month. Again, having had this opportunity to see this festival in person, it's beautiful. Last year, when we had visited, the whole Floriade was actually built on the human anatomy. So you actually had, beds of tulips in the shape of a cell, in the shape of a DNA, in shape of like a brain cell. So they literally had tulip beds made out of this, and it's beautiful, it's huge. And I think they have a lot of activities that happen during Floriade. So you will have a Ferris wheel, you will have sound and light show in the evening. They have stalls of food, they have food trucks, and every year the theme of Floriade is different. So again, if you have a honeymooner or a couple who's visiting during this 1 month of Floriade, definitely give them time at Floriade during the daytime, because that's when it looks so, so colorful. And again, speaking from a very honeymoon specific thing, since we like doing the whole thing of clicking photos, I think nothing like clicking a photo with against the backdrop of tulips. Next, please. Just taking a moment here to charge my laptop. Just give me a moment. Also, Canberra is really, really, I think, when it comes to coffee and food and gelatos, one of the best places. Anita Gelato Factory is really the world's best gelato that I've ever had. It's right in the heart of the city. It's open till late, so I think definitely a visit post dinner here. This is not a tour, but this is an experience to have a gelato. And I think every couple who's on a trip would definitely would want to have some dessert after their dinner. So they should definitely go to Anita Gelato when they're in Canberra. Again, this is a personal experience. It really is a very good gelato place. Next, please. And Canberra also has one of the best coffees, which is called the Ona coffee. So as you can see, every state has some sort of a culinary, a vineyard, a coffee experience that can be given in the itinerary. Again, this is something which are like little add-ons that add into that whole experience of being on a honeymoon. Definitely nothing goes wrong with a good coffee, nothing goes wrong with a good gelato. So these are some places that we recommend, at least for people who are there to celebrate something special or just there for their honeymoon. Next, please. Moving on to Tasmania. Yes, we have Southern Lights. I think this is something we've been very vocal about, that during the winter months, right from June up till the month of August, Australia experiences Aurora Australis, or as we call them, Southern Lights. This is a phenomena, again, very similar to your Northern Lights, but we have it sort of scattered, and it's during the peak winter months of June to August. So if you have anybody who's traveling at that point of time on their honeymoon or to celebrate something, do give them an experience and a stay in Tasmania. Next, please. So this is the Wineglass Bay, very picturesque, very scenic, and I think you can do either as a day trip or you can stay here as well from Hobart. This is a hike. Now this view is after doing a hike. It's not a very tedious hike, but again, it's only for people who want to hike up this high and then probably soak into this view. Or you can even go here at the Wineglass Bay here on the beach, and you can relax or just chill over here as well. Tasmania is definitely a place which is not rushed, works very, very well for honeymooners. A great destination for self drive as well. So you can have a week long itinerary just to explore places and be on your own. You can stay here again at one of the luxury lodges, which is your Sapphire Freycinet. Next, please. Now, Tasmania is also known for lavender. So you what you see here are massive lavender fields. Again, this is seasonal, so December to Jan is how it looks like. A lot of tours are organized along the lavender field, and in fact, a lot of these tours first take you through the fields, and then there are a lot of products that you can buy made from lavender. Again, December Jan is a period where in India a lot of weddings take place. So definitely a lot of honeymooners that are planning their honeymoon during this December Jan period. So I think Tasmania should be on the itinerary because there are experiences that they can, make the most of whilst they are there. Next, please. Now, Port Arthur historic side, again, one of these experiences, not that it's honeymoon specific or a couple specific, but it's something which, is like a must do activity when you're there. This is a convict jail, which used to be jail back in the day. But this entire tour is quite, eye opening, so as to how convicts were kept inside the jail, what it looked like. They even have a cell which, they've kept it intact, how it used to be back in the day. So this is more like an immersive, more on the cultural and the historic side of a tour. But I think when you visit a certain state or a city, it's definitely recommended to visit the must visit places. So this is one of them. Next, please. Cradle Mountain again can be part of a nice week-long itinerary. You can stay here, you can take it as a day trip as well. But this is again no rush. You are on your own, and this is a perfect place and state. I feel Tasmania for honeymooners because they are in no rush, and they really have that me time that they're looking out for on their honeymoon. Next, please. Next. Yes. Okay. MasterChef. I think all of us know these three people. But because I spoke a lot on culinary, MasterChef, all of these have their own restaurants. So across Sydney, if you talk about the Barongaro precinct, which is near the Darling and the Rocks, they have restaurants which are owned by MasterChef. So I think food is an integral part for any couple that travels on a honeymoon. Definitely, you're not going to go hungry, But I think a lot of experiences when it comes to lunches and dinners, what you can do is you can actually have a nice dinner planned at any of the MasterChef restaurants, because that works very, very well, where they can have a curated menu also for themselves. Next, please. This is a personal favorite, the Lune Croissant. Earlier, it used to be only in Melbourne, but now they also have an outlet in Sydney. Definitely have their chocolate croissant, the lemon, and the butter croissant. It opens quite early in the morning. Again, one of the experiences. Which I feel that everything does not have to be by the itinerary. These are little experiences which you can elevate. So again, if you don't want to have breakfast at the hotel, just recommend or suggest that they go to Loon and probably have a croissant breakfast one of the days. It opens early, there's a queue, so it's better to go early, and they shut shop by, I think, by 12. All the croissants are sold out. So it's fresh, it's local. It gives you also this taste of how local Aussies, kind of go and queue up at Loon to pick up their croissants. Next, please. And of course, a lot of chocolate, lot of hot chocolate, lot of I think dessert places that you can go. What you see on the left hand side corner, Max Brunner, for me, has the best hot chocolate. They have multiple outlets across all cities. The Haggis chocolate is again very peculiar to South Australia, Adelaide. Amazing chocolates. I think this is more for the couple to bring back things from there, but also experience. I'm sure they would love to get back some chocolates from Haggis when they are there. Next, please. And yes, that's about it from my end. I think honeymoon is a segment wherein, with your very typical itinerary, you also need to kind of weave in certain experiences which make them feel very happy and adds a wow element to it. And I think no one better than TDU would, know it. So I'll pass it on to Mayur, and thank you for this opportunity, Mayur and Amelia.
Thank you so much, Ushma. That was a wonderful insight for how we can people can plan or the agents can plan their itinerary for the luxury honeymoon clientels. And yeah, so moving from Queensland, how the romance and adventure goes in hand to hand, whether it have a private picnic lunch on the stunning Whitehaven beach or a magical glowworm in the Gold Coast, and many other cities like Sydney, Melbourne has their own unique charm. So moving forward, through these experiences, we want to showcase that Australia is just not a destination; it's a collection of an unforgettable memories from the luxury honeymooners, scenic experiences, and the wildlife adventures, food and culture. Every state has something unique to offer. So whatever it is, romance in Whitsundays, adventure in Western Australia, iconic experience in Sydney and Melbourne or Uluru, Turtle Down Under helps to create the journeys that are truly personalized and memorable for every travelers. So speaking about Turtle Down Under, so we have an headquarters based in Melbourne with an on-ground team presence in across Australia and New Zealand. We are in industry from plus 10 years now. So we deliver travel programs and so Total Unders also have a proven track record, so we deliver the experiences like large scale groups and complex travel programs. We have a strong industry connections and we are trusted and vetted by 10,000 travel agent support. Next slide please. So our client is based in India, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia, Sri Lanka and Philippines. Next slide please. So, as Usma told, this is how you can plan the itineraries, like a romance and honeymoon itineraries experiencing Australia. So, if you want to plan a itinerary for your client, like a luxury honeymoon itinerary, so they can have a signature experiences like an Hartree helicopter experience, private Great Barrier Reef Island stay, or a picnic lunch, a qualia stay, and a field of light and the sound of silence will add on in Uluru. If the client wants a slow luxury and a scenic escapes, the clientels can take a self drive to the Great Ocean Road. They can have a unique winery experiences. They can have a Wineglass Bay coastal escape and a Cradle Mountain stay. If your client is a storyteller and they need a immersive romance kind of an itinerary, you can suggest them a Ghan rail journey experience, Sound of Silence desert dining, Flames of Forest rainforest dinner, and the Penguin Parade at Phillip Island. So these are the multiple itineraries which we can curate with you, for your clients. Next slide, please. So we have question and answers. Right now. If you have any questions, you can drop down your questions in the Q&A chat box session, and we can happy to answer your questions. So now I think we have answered few of the questions while the webinar was going on, and some of the questions that Ushma has answered. So there's one more question, Ushma, that what are the most recommended spots for the couple photography in Australia?
I think that completely depends on what's there in the itinerary. But as mentioned earlier, if you want to do photography while you're on the Great Barrier Reef with the private helicopter, I think that would be one spot which is recommended. I think anything to do with a hot air ballooning experience is also a great spot because, in fact, hot air balloons have their own cameras as well. So they click a lot of photos and they give it to you as a souvenir at the end of the ride as well. Any place which is on the beach, like if you're doing the Great Beach Drive, definitely recommend over there. Not a city, but all of these experiences would be the place where you would like to click. Like if you're in Tasmania during the lavender season, you would love to do a photography amongst the field as well. So I think these are some of the places wherein a couple photography would work really well.
Yes, thank you so much, Ushma. Some of have said that kindly share the presentation or recording of this webinar. This will be shared to you after this webinar shortly by our team. So, what kind of accommodation options are available in the Yarra Valley?
They have right from your 4 star up till 5 star hotels as well. Some of them are also very boutique experiences. Like we had stayed at a place called the Balgani Estate, which was in the middle of a vineyard. Had its own restaurant, had really good rooms as well, and would work well for a couple. So similar to that, Yarra Valley has other accommodation options as well. I think TDU would be the right people to reach out to so as to as for your budget and what is the kind of itinerary they're looking at. But yeah, they have really good accommodation options in Yarra Valley. And even in terms of food, all of these properties had in-house restaurants.
Coming to the next question, I think I'll answer this question. So, if you have a doubt for a driving license for Indians in Australia and New Zealand, few says that no special permit is required as Indian driving licenses will be accepted. Yes, Indian driving license is accepted in Australia and New Zealand. You have to just give your Indian driving license, which is has all the written like do not have should not be damaged. The Indian license should not be damaged. All the written should be and it should be in English. So you have to also carry your credit card under your driving. Whoever is the driver, they need a credit card and a passport. That's all. No need of special permit like other countries has international driving permit. Your Indian driving license works. Ushma, one more question for you is: will you recommend focusing on a fewer destinations with a deeper experiences, or a bordered itinerary for the romance travelers?
I think this one really depends on what the couple is looking out for. If somebody is on a longer itinerary but does not want to be in a rushed itinerary, I would recommend it will be more on experiences, fewer destinations. You might not want to cover Sydney, Melbourne, Gold Coast, Cairns, Brisbane, all of that in that one go, but keep it slightly spaced out. But then you also have a set of couples who kind of want to do every tick box itinerary, a part of the experience, even a honeymoon. So I think completely depends on that. But I think for somebody who's on a nice, slow itinerary, give them more experiences, more time and space. They would also be the kind of couple who should be given a luxury lodge because those are properties which are more experience rather than, staying in a hotel. For people who are doing your tick box activity can stay in your proper hotels and also do their activities for the day. I hope that
One
helps.
last question, we'll
Yeah.
take it. It's like, what would you recommend for a smaller group, senior citizens milestone celebrations?
I think they should do experiences which are not very adventure or an adrenal kind of a thing. They should take a nice yacht ride, at the Sydney Harbour Bridge. Like have a nice dinner or a wine and cheese experience. I think for senior citizens also not something that involves a lot of walking, but more like a sit down dinner, more on if they're into culinary, more proper curated lunches and dinners. They could do experiences which wherein they go on the Great Barrier Reef but not do like the hardcore snorkeling or a skydiving, but just be on the pontoon or stay over there. They could do more city specific experiences. We've also had a senior citizen group who have done the Ghan because that works very well for them. It's kind of laid back. They don't have to uh, run around. They have off train experiences as well. So the Ghan also works very very well for a senior citizen group.
Thank you so much, Ushma. So this
Mm.
is it. Amelia, can you just shift the previous slide? Yeah. So these are our email IDs and the contact details where you can reach us out. For the India, who are the agents who are based in India, they can reach us out on sales@turtledownunder.com.au. And the agents who are based in Southeast Asia, like Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, they can email us at asia@turtledownunder.com.au. If you have any group queries, you can email us at groupsales@turtledownunder.com.au. So these are our contacts, and we will connect you with the special or the your region salesperson. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ushma, for joining us. It is
Thank you.
always lovely to have you on the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thanks, Mayur and Amelia. See you all on the
Thank
next
you so
one.
much.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Bye.